Hi, everyone. Aside from our usual adult language, this episode contains discussion around physical abuse, sexual assault, sexual abuse, emotional abuse, all the abuses. So if you're not in the headspace for that today, I suggest you skip. If you'd like to stick around, I hope you enjoy the episode. Hey everyone, welcome to Little Miss Recap, the podcast where we don't cuss because the Lord is in this house.
Hell. We do not say hell, Amy. No hell.
Do you know I couldn't figure out what curse word he used? I had to watch it 10 times.
I couldn't either. Until I read some review that was like, oh, he freaked out about saying hell. I was like, oh.
Yeah, but that was the second time. The first time, when Natalia says to him, please don't cuss, I couldn't figure out what he said that time.
I think he said God.
Are you kidding me right now?
I think so.
Okay.
Like, I think he took the Lord's name in vain. I think he did like, oh my God or something.
Okay.
Yeah. These people, the Mans make me really uncomfortable.
I don't know how I feel about her being pulled into this uber religious
The Mans make me really uncomfortable. And I liked them before this.
Mm-hmm.
There's something about them that makes me really uncomfortable.
They seem to love her, like the end aside, which we'll talk about. They seem to love her and she's getting everything she needs from them. So good for her.
Right.
But I just...
I worry, is this just one more group of people that are taking advantage of her?
I worry about that too.
Yeah. And I don't think she's an angel by any means.
Also, let's talk about this documentary as a whole.
Jesus Christ.
I had real problems with it. And I didn't realize how bad it was until I had watched the whole thing over multiple days.
Okay.
And then yesterday I realized we were recording this morning. I had not taken notes, so I had to sit and watch all 6 episodes.
Oh, jeez.
In one stretch. And let me tell you something, so much of this was repetitive.
Oh my God. Yeah. So I spent all day Saturday on the couch watching all of this, all but like half an episode, which I'd started the other night. And when you watch it in total together, you realize how terrible it is and how repetitive it is. We could have made this 2 episodes, 3 max.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out like how they benefit out of it being more episodes.
I don't know. Maybe Netflix pays for more episodes.
Well, no, it's
or
on
Discovery.
Max. So like
Whoever.
Is it on ID? So there's commercials?
There's definitely commercials. You can tell the way they cut it.
Okay, that's how they get their money.
They cut it somehow to put it on quote unquote regular television, something with commercials. It was really repetitive. The storytelling was all over. Like I thought the first part that we covered this summer or whenever the hell it was on, I thought that was much, much better.
I agree.
Than this second half. I think these producers or directors or whatever were like, whoa, this turned into like, the Tiger King of the summer of 2023, right? Everyone was talking about Natalia Grace. So I think they were like, how can we really maximize this? Because when else are we going to have this opportunity to make this level of money and do this kind of thing again? So that is my guess of why they did it that way. But it's just... it is so all over the place. The fact that there is never a psychologist or a mental health professional mentioned in the whole thing.
Nope.
Is a travesty. And as much as I liked Beth Karras in the first installment of this, I did not care for her in this at all.
No, I felt that she was really, really laying on the Nancy Grace.
Yes, and overstepping and really being like, well, this is what they were thinking. I'm like, you've never talked to any of these people. You don't know what you're thinking. You were great when you were explaining the legality, when you were explaining the government process in terms of her like disability and what she received and how the money moves.
Yep.
Great. Love that for us.
Yes.
This did not do her any favors.
I agree 100%. Yeah, I didn't realize until you said it. There are no therapists in this, no psychologists.
No, we never talk to a mental health professional to get their take on what's wrong with any of these people.
Right.
Because there's something wrong with all of these people. Whether it was caused by the trauma. I mean, look, someone said it in Backdoor Friends. I think it might have been Michelle who said it. But like, 2 things can be true at one time. Natalia
Yeah.
can have had a terrible life and have been horribly abused and mistreated and all of those things. And also she can be unwell too.
Yes. She is 100% unwell.
Mhm.
And there's something about her that really bothered me this series, and I hate to say that because when I see those images of her from the first
Mhm.
documentary when she is clearly a child,
Yeah.
as a mother, I can't help but think of my own kids at that age
Mhm.
and the trauma that this girl endured. I can't even imagine.
I was
So you
explaining the whole
can't
th yeah.
right, you can't I can't divorce myself from that. Like I understand that. At the same time, there's also this layer of inauthenticity with
Mhm.
her that she's so performative, and I feel like she's almost learned from Michael.
Uh-huh. Performative was exactly the word I was gonna use. I was explaining this whole story to my mom yesterday because she
Yeah.
hasn't watched any of it. She did
Mhm.
watch that Daughters of the Cult thing, and I was like,
Yeah,
"That was
that
an
was a mess.
abomination." We can't even
Mhm.
talk about that, Amy. It was so
Mm-mm.
bad, which is
Mm-mm.
such a shame because it's an interesting story and it has a big Sister Wives tie-in,
I know, but
but
it's so bad.
so bad. Anywho, but I was explaining the whole thing to her, and I'm like, she's like, "So how old was she when they put her in this apartment?" I'm like, "8, mom." She was 8. She was like, "Oh my god." She's like, "You were a pretty, independent, could care for yourself child all your whole life." That's a whole other conversation.
Yeah.
She's like, "I wouldn't have even left you alone for an hour at 8
No,
because
no.
you would have been freaked out."
And that's not even the worst of it. In my opinion, as a parent, the worst was when she was in that halfway house.
Yes.
Like, you are around drug users,
Yeah, that
by
the
that's
first
what she's
apartment.
saying, I'm not making the assumption.
Yeah.
No. Oh, was
Oh, the
okay.
halfway house after the mental
Yes,
after she was
yes,
in the hospital. Yeah, yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Right before they took her and threw her in the apartment.
The Section 8 housing apartment, yeah.
Yeah, like, it was oh my god, I can't even imagine.
I know.
No
Here she
wonder
is
she
9
is
years old.
acting out sexually.
One can't even know what this young woman has seen in her life.
It's awful.
It's
It's awful.
awful.
Okay, so let's get through this, shall we? We're talking
Let's do
about
this.
Natalia Grace season 2, Natalia Speaks. We watched on Max. I think it's on
I
Discovery
think it's on
ID.
yeah.
We have characters who are returning. We have Natalia. We, of course, have Michael,
Jesus
who
Christ.
I'm calling the broke down Jack Black. I don't know what he's trying to do with that facial hair.
That facial hair is so bad. God.
He looks like a 90s singer. I thought, is he like from Smash Mouth? But then I realized when Jack Black was like kind of at
Yeah.
his worst
Yes.
physically with his facial hair, that's
That
Michael. I love
yeah.
Jack Black, so I'm not dissing him, but
Right. It's sort of like a Wolverine situation.
yeah, yeah,
Not
yeah.
good.
No. We have Bishop Antoine Mans, we have his wife Cynthia, we have Beth Karras, like you said, Bob Goldsmith, the sheriff of Tippecanoe County. We have Jackie Starbuck, she was the prosecutor in the Barnett case.
Mhm.
Brandon Davenport, who's a detective, Veronica Maxwell, and Ken Maxwell, both retired FBI investigators. I don't know
Mhm.
if they're related or married.
I don't either.
Don't know. So Natalia
And
comes out
we
from
had my
a
boyfriend. We had my
who?
boyfriend, Uncle Phil, the attorney, Michael's attorney.
Oh my god, I forgot about him. I write about him later. Terrence.
Parent, yeah. My boyfriend, who
He
I
is
did
Uncle
not like
Phil
nearly as
from
much this
yes,
time. He is
yes.
handsome, though.
He's handsome, but he's problematic.
Oh, I don't care for him
Yeah,
personally. I just
yeah.
find him pretty to look at.
Michael, can we talk about somebody married this man?
2 people married this man.
Somebody married this man, Amanda, after seeing this show.
2 people married yeah, someone married him after seeing this, and after he was this way. Like, we
Mhm,
don't know
mhm.
what he was like when he and Christine first met.
Well,
I'm
at
not
one point
I
when
guess is that he's like this, but
they're on the phone together, she goes, "Don't go into your weird, freaky denial state." And I was like, "Oh, she knows him. She
oh,
knows
yeah.
him." Mhm, mhm.
God, I want her to talk so bad.
Me too. Me too.
Me too. Okay, anyway.
Me too. Okay. So Natalia comes out from some room and she gets into her little wheelchair. She's wearing her green dress. She tells us, I want you to hear my side of the story because Michael and Christine took all of these plots from the orphan. Now, the problem with Natalia is she does this weird performative yelling all the time where she's
Uh-huh.
yelling at us
Right.
And we don't deserve to be yelled at.
No.
But she's just angry. And I get it. Hmm. We learned that Natalia has been with Bishop Antoine Mans, not Mars, and Cynthia Mans, and they have 11 kids, and Natalia has been with them for over 10 years. She seems to have parents who love her. We see
Mhm.
her hugging her parents. We see her siblings all come out. They all gather around her. Cynthia says Natalia is like a light to our family and has brought so much joy. She says she was broken when she came to the family,
Mhm.
but we worked on picking up those pieces. So this is current state.
Right, right. This is what she is saying is happening.
So this was really hard to take notes for because it was constantly repetitive.
Mhm.
So I kind of listed some things, but we'll
Okay.
get there. So in 2013, we learn and see again that the Barnetts send Natalia to live in an adult learning center by herself. And this is where the staff call the police and say, something's not right here. This is clearly a child, but it says
Right.
she's an adult. And are we losing our minds? The collective, like, are we here right now?
Right.
So Sheriff Bob Goldsmith gets involved, and he's a pretty good dude. I
Mhm.
like this dude.
Yeah.
He's like, I have kids. This girl was not 22.
Yeah.
So he's like, she was more like 11. But then he says, and tell me if you thought this was weird.
Okay.
I asked her about the abuse, and she said no, and I didn't pry. Because if there's one thing I learned about talking to kids when they're abused, it's don't pry. They'll come to you on their own time. I feel like that's not what you're supposed to do,
I
Bob
don't feel like
Goldsmith.
that's what you're supposed to do. I feel like there's a big chasm between prying and asking questions.
I agree. Like, isn't it literally your job to find this out?
Find out
Like,
what's happening here.
maybe you don't pry, but maybe you get a child psychologist involved who
Right.
pries.
Right. You find somebody to talk to this child and ask what happened to them.
Yes. So Natalia just keeps saying, "You need to know what happened in that house."
Well, then
So
tell us.
here's the list of what happened in the house.
Right.
So Natalia says no one. Okay. So Christine pepper sprayed her twice.
Oh God.
And then Natalia will say things like, I mean, who does that? And she'll say it after everything that she
Right.
does.
Yeah. That's the stuff that feels really performative.
I don't even know if here's what I think happened. I think they throw this camera on her
Mhm.
and they're like, tell us about some of the things Christine did to you. And can't fill the space.
No.
Like, she's like, she pepper sprayed me. But then, like, what else am I going to say about it?
Right.
She doesn't
Right.
have
She doesn't have a
that,
storytelling way about
yes.
her.
So she just, like, acts mad, which is
Which
fine.
sure, but it doesn't
Mhm.
make for compelling television, and they're trying to
Yes.
make compelling television?
Yes. So I blame the producers for this. But
Yeah, I
anyway,
do too.
so Christine pepper sprayed her twice. She put makeup on her. She tried to pimp her out to Freddie Gill, who's clearly a hoarder. Let's get
Oh
eyes on Freddie
god.
Gill. Something's going on there.
He's so gross.
And then she hit her with a belt. And that's all I have so far.
Early on, yes. At the end, we learn that there's more. Well, not supposed. This is
Yes.
what Natalia says. And I
Yeah.
wanna believe everything she says that happened, but I
Me
also don't
too.
feel like she's a reliable narrator.
I don't either. So she also says if the Barnetts let her get her surgeries earlier, it might have lessened her pain and her conditions, which I thought was
Mm,
a really interesting
yeah, yeah.
bombshell. Okay, so now we have the segment I call Michael's lies. So they do a good job of showing what Michael says today versus what he said in the original documentary versus what he says when he's being deposed.
Right, and in the original documentary, because they interviewed him, like, 2 or 3 different times, he even
Mhm.
contradicted himself
Yeah.
in the first he's such an oh, I hate him so much.
Michael Barnett is a scumbag. I mean,
Yes.
there's no other way to say it. And for all the criticisms that we might have of Natalia, she is forgiven because, again, she was traumatized and was an abused child.
Mhm. This
Michael
guy
has no
is
excuse. He's a privileged white dude. Like, fuck off, dude.
Amy, he was horribly abused by Christine. Evil. I'm sorry, her name's not even Christine. It's just evil. And
I just
they
hate
were both
him.
victims. Amy, they were both victims. Oh
I
my
hate him.
god, this
I
this
hate
whole
him.
thing, I wanted to reach through my television and
There
smack him with
are,
like a dead fish.
I would like to say, there are men in this country who are in abusive
A
relationships.
hundred
Of
percent.
course, 100%. Michael's not one of them.
I don't think
He
so.
could have left at any time.
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay, so they do a good job of showing the lies, like I said. Michael claims, for example, that he never met the Chicones?
Mhm.
Chicones? Chicones.
Cones. I feel like they said their name a couple of different ways.
They were the original family that had Natalia,
Mhm.
and Natalia remembers them meeting. Now
Why
Beth
don't we
cares
ever
late Go ahead, I'm
interview
sorry.
the Chacones?
I know they must decline not to be part of this.
Yeah. Like, why don't we hear from them why they gave up Natalia?
Right. Right. Michael says he never spoke to them, yet we see emails between them. He says it was a
Mhm.
closed adoption. That's not true.
Mm-mm.
Beth Karras tells us like maybe Natalia remembers it wrong. I mean, she was little,
Mhm.
and that is possible, but the paper trail doesn't lie.
Right, and he only ever talked about the one adoption agency, and they used an entirely different one.
Right, and they believe the reason that he distanced himself from that was because of the medical records.
Mhm.
So, Michael also says he never saw Christine hit Natalia. Cut to footage of him describing it and punching the floor.
Right.
Like, who could forget that part? I was like, wait a
We
minute, wait a
we
minute, wait a
we were
minute.
all there for that, sir.
Mm-hmm. He says things like, Christine never told me that she was getting calls from your teacher. He tells Natalia that. Footage of him saying, yes, Christine told me she was getting calls daily. He's just a
Mhm.
fucking liar.
Mhm.
And
Everything he says is a lie.
maybe I would have more empathy for him, more sympathy for him if he truly was abused, if he wasn't such a lying scumbag.
If his story was remotely consistent,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I might believe some of what he says, but I don't believe we can believe a word out of his mouth.
I really hate him, and you need to tell me if I'm not being fair. Because whenever
No,
someone says they were abused, I feel bad not believing them and hating them.
this man is
But
so disgusting.
okay.
He
All
may
right.
have been abused, I don't know, but I don't trust a word out of his mouth.
I don't either. And I do believe he had the power to end all of this. He could have picked up a phone. He could have called somebody, child services,
Mhm.
anybody. He could have not went along with this.
Yep.
And notice he's still driving, like, what is he driving? An Alfa Romeo to the fucking
No,
interview?
no, no, that I think that
What
was a
is that?
Miata. I think it was a Miata
He
or
still needs
something.
that. He's still a Cody Brown. He
Yeah.
needs his little sports car.
Yep. Zipping in, zipping out with his music blaring.
Whatever.
That house was cute, though. Do you think it was an Airbnb?
I think so.
It was really
I
cute,
think so.
though. I liked it.
So Natalia's story about the Chacones is that she hit their son by accident, and the father, Gary, flipped out on her, and he never liked her after that, which that
Mhm.
could all be true.
That could all be
But
true.
again, we don't know with her.
No.
Because not only are we looking at uh through all of this through trauma, but we're looking at this. She was a little kid.
Yeah.
Do you know how many things I got wrong when I was a kid? Like wrong memories that I have?
Right, because she was 4, 5, and 6 at the time this is happening. I
Mm-hmm.
remember glimpses of that time, but I don't remember.
No,
And I tell my parents things that I remember, and they're like, that's not really what
didn't happen
happened."
that way.
Yeah.
So she bounced around between a bunch of families looking for her next home. Then she went to Michael and Christine. We know this from the beginning. Jackie Starbuck comes in and tells us, I'm going to give you the deets. I'm going to give
Mhm.
you the lowdown details here. She says since Natalia went to the Barnetts in April of 2010, the Barnetts began this narrative of not knowing how old she was.
Yeah.
Yet they had all these medical records, and we know this because they were even providing them to the school system for her to go to
Mhm.
school there.
Yeah.
So there was an endocrinologist who had examined Natalia and said she was definitely between 9 and 10. This dentist, this really cute dentist.
He was cute, but he seemed so clueless about the story.
Yeah, he was not sitting home during the pandemic watching this bullshit.
No,
Not the
he was not
pandemic, this was last year.
this summer, but whatever. He was like, I mean, I remember this kid,
He was out
but
living his best life. He's like,
it's other
"What?
things
There
to
was a
do than us.
docu-series? I don't even know because I was out
Who's
banging my
Natalia
way through
Grace?
nightclubs." Mhm. Do people have
Bang.
nightclubs? Do they call them nightclubs?
No, no. They go up to the club.
Up to the club.
Yes. They go up to
So the dentist said the same thing. He's like, there's no way this kid is an adult. Look
Mm-mm.
at all of her baby teeth.
Right.
Okay. At the end of episode 1, we do a DNA test. It comes back that she is indeed now 22 years old, which puts
Mhm.
her where?
I found that really interesting that they can, like, really closely age you
I
through a
know.
blood test.
I know. We need to get one of those on Blanche Devereaux and figure out her real age because she would never
Oh,
tell.
she would never tell anybody. That's
Hmm.
true. That's
Hmm.
true. But the problem is we'd test Rue McClanahan,
Mm, mm.
and is she still with us?
No, I don't
No,
think
I didn't think
so.
so. Okay.
Mm-mm. So you're telling me Blanche Devereaux's not real? How dare you?
No, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
So now we get the Natalia's life would have been better if she were adopted by XYZ. And we have all these interviews with this other couple who are little people. And like, this is all extra. We don't need this.
No, like,
Who cares?
sure, it would have been great if they'd been adopted by her, but they weren't.
Sure. It would have also been great if she was discovered by the guy who discovered all those boy bands and he made her a singer. But like, that didn't happen either. Are we going to go down that road?
Oh god, remember that creepy guy who
Yeah. What
discovered
was his
all of the
name?
bands? Oh, I can't think of his name. You keep talking, I will
Was it
look it up.
Maurice
I feel like it was
something?
Lou.
Oh, maybe Lou.
Okay, boy band
Boy band
manager.
discoverer.
Lou Pearlman.
Oh, look at you. Lou Pearlman.
I
Okay.
could see him, I just couldn't remember his name.
So, like, Natalia's life would have been so much better if Lou Pearlman discovered her
Mhm.
as an act
Yep.
and, trained her and had her. But, like, we don't go down that road.
Nope.
Anyway, I'm going to be enraged about the storytelling the entire time.
Oh, that's fine because it's abysmal.
Yeah. And as a storyteller, I'm personally offended by this.
Mhm. Why are you wasting my time with a shitty told
Mm-hmm.
story?
Mm-hmm. So now we
Shittily
go
told
to
story? I don't know.
the meeting with Michael, round one, take one.
Jesus Christ.
Michael says, I have to be innocent and I have to be a good dude because I'm showing up.
Right, and remember, how does he say that he was found innocent?
A
I was
jury of his peers.
like, it's not it's like he uses a real word. Like, I was exonerated or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like,
Whatever,
no,
dude.
you
No,
weren't.
you
You were
weren't.
just found not guilty.
Hmm.
2 different things.
So Natalia says, why are we here, Michael? And he goes, well, if you're talking philosophically.
I know. Facade.
Mhm.
Todd was like,
Okay.
philosophically? Like,
Okay.
just go with it.
Hmm.
This man thinks he's a lot smarter than he is.
Uh-huh. I mean, why are any of us here? And then we cut and we go on different trails. Like we're
Right.
interrupting that scene, which was a weird choice. I can't do
Yeah.
this. Okay. We go to Brendan Davenport now, who tells us he was brought in when a doctor said this girl's ID doesn't match. He blah, blah, blah. We go on the Christine motive tangent. What was Christine's motive? So here's what we learn about her.
Yeah.
She turned Jacob into a genius. We remember this from episode 1 or series 1.
Turned him into a genius. Oh, I hate how
Quote
I hate how
unquote.
she talks about Jacob.
I am enraged over this entire thing because this reminds me so much of like the mommy bloggers, the mommy
Uh-huh.
Instagrammers who
Mhm.
just make so much money off their kids. Their kids don't make any money. Their kids don't consent to any of this.
Yeah.
Guys,
Yeah.
stop doing it.
Yeah.
Like posting a picture here or there is great, but
Mhm.
like there are people who monetize their Instagram off of their kids.
Right, and they're talking about their daughters getting their period for the first time, and it's
Yeah.
like, no,
Just
don't do that.
I put pictures of my kids too, but like I walk a line. But like I was talking, was it you I was talking about how Facebook has changed?
No.
I was talking to Stephanie, I think about it.
Okay.
Like Facebook has changed so much. When I look back 10 years ago of what I used to post, I can cringe because I
Oh, I
put so
know.
much of my kids on.
Yeah.
And I just like there became this line where I was suddenly like, are they consenting to this?
Yeah. And
It
they're not.
bothered me. Mhm. Okay. So she thought she could do it again. So she adopts another special needs child. This is what Michael's saying, and Beth is telling us this as well. In the meantime, she gets a book deal to write The Spark. She
Mhm.
gets $600,000 advance.
I knew this was going to enrage you.
I'm enraged by this. First of all,
First of all.
that's on a spec. The book wasn't even written. Second of all, a ghostwriter wrote it.
Uh-huh.
I'm okay.
And I mean, I know authors get paid for specs a lot, but they generally have written other books, or they're like somebody who you know is going to have a great story.
This just goes to show this is 2010. The book industry has changed so much since then.
Oh, I'm sure.
Advance? What's that? You don't get an advance anymore. You don't
Yeah.
get any kind of tour anymore. And the
Mhm.
problem, what happened is so many celebrities started writing memoirs and books. Like, it's sort of like what's happened to podcasting. Like, the smaller podcasts have been shut out by, like, because now Somebody from the
iHeartRadio and
office will just open, like, they'll just do a
right,
podcast about it.
right, and
Like,
we've
these
got all the
celebrities are
networks.
doing these podcasts, and you're like, "Oh, well, how am I gonna fucking compete with that?"
Right, how am I gonna talk about The Office in a funny way when Pam and Angela are
Yes.
covering every damn episode? So,
Like,
yes.
I always say it's only a matter of time before somebody needs to wake up in the 90-day universe and be like,
Oh, I
"I'm gonna
know.
start a 90-day podcast. I can talk about it."
The thing is, though, I wonder if in their contracts they can't.
That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah. Anyway.
Okay. So she gets this book deal. So basically, this is happening in 2011, 2012, 2013. So the entire time Natalia's with them, she is quote unquote writing this book, which she's fucking not. Somebody else is who's probably getting paid nothing.
Right.
And she is very conscious of her image.
Mhm.
Even the movie rights were optioned. So she made a lot of money off of this.
She did, yeah.
So Jacob says, now we go to Jacob in his sad, sad basement bedroom.
Mhm.
And he says he was supposed to get some of that money. I mean, it's his story and he's literally on the cover.
Yeah,
I just wrote, I fucking hate this for him. I hate this for him.
I do too.
Then Michael, in his performative nature, goes, I mean, she left him with $5 for a coffee. Okay, I'm sure she left him with $5. She probably gave him nothing.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
why does it have to be $5? Why does it have to be so dramatic?
Specific. Yeah, exactly. He couldn't even bought himself a coffee at
I know,
Starbucks.
he's a fucking idiot. Hey everyone, stay tuned. Little Miss Recap will be right back after these words. So then we get back to Natalia getting adopted, how much she loved the Barnetts. She loves school. We learn that Christine. So I'm like, okay, what they're trying to do is they're taking the why did Christine do this and we're filling that arc out, but it's not working.
Mhm.
Christine tries to portray her as gifted, but the teachers were like, no, she's average.
Yeah.
Sorry. Like she's just a normal kid. Don't know what to tell you.
Right.
Natalia's like, this could have been because of my surgeries. Like once they realized how expensive it was going to be to have me,
Right.
maybe. And then she again, she'll just randomly go, who does that? Or they
Mhm.
don't know it hurt.
Right.
And again,
Yeah.
I think it's because she doesn't know what to say. She doesn't have the skills to be able
Mm-mm.
to
Fill time in a
wax poetic about what happened.
right.
Okay. So now we have Veronica Maxwell. She comes in. And I don't really know why she comes in because she doesn't really give us anything.
There's a lot of these people I don't know why they're
Mhm,
here in this documentary because
mhm.
they don't really
Yeah.
help.
I literally have, oh, she investigated FBI crimes against children. Nothing. And
Nothing.
nothing
Yeah.
else. Okay.
Great.
Natalia wonders why the Barnetts didn't just send her back. She says they had, Beth says they had no option now but to age Natalia. This
Mhm.
was their second prong attack here. We go back to the interview. Michael says we have the same monster. And I guess we learned that Christine was threatening to take his boys off of him.
Yeah, it sounds like if he was abused by her,
Mm-hmm.
don't know if he was, but if he was
Mm-hmm.
abused by her, the thing that she used over and over again to threaten him and keep him in line was custody of his children, which is a
I
real powerful tool.
It
If
is.
that's true, it's an incredibly powerful tool.
I think what bothers me so much about him is we didn't see this from him in season 1. I felt like
Yeah.
I don't know, he seemed more team Christine, even though he talked about how evil she was.
Yeah, he didn't talk and it seems like the way he talks about her in part 2 is that there was never a moment where he didn't think she was evil. Versus
Yes.
part 1 where it feels like she got evil because of the divorce. She got
Yes.
evil to him through the divorce
Mhm.
process,
Agree.
which we don't even know why they divorced.
No, we have no idea.
No idea.
And he tells the people deposing him that she kept all of the $600,000. That's not how divorce works, dude. You
Mm-mm.
get half of that.
Mhm.
Unless she spent it. We don't know.
Right.
But that's a lot
Yeah.
of money to spend in a very short amount of time.
Yeah.
Okay. Although I could do it. Challenge me. Go ahead. I could do it.
I could be gone with $600,000 if you gave it to me tomorrow.
Yes.
Now, some of that would include buying a house, but
Yes.
it's fine.
So Bishop Mans, Natalia at one point says to him, please don't cuss. I don't know
Mhm.
what he said. I can't figure it out. And then she asks, why did you marry her, Michael? Now, what does this have to do with anything? Why'd
And
you marry her?
my guess is if his story is that she was so evil all along, why would you even have married her?
Right, I guess. But that's not how divorce works. Like, that's not how
No, that's not how any of this
abusive
works.
relationships work.
No,
You know what I mean? So, but she wouldn't know that because she's a kid.
right.
Even now, she's 20. She's still a kid, in my opinion. So she asks why you didn't marry. Michael says, that's a hell of a question. And Bishop Mans comes forward and he's like,
Oh.
we are in a house of God, motherfucker. You broke down Jack Black. You get out of here. He starts freaking out on him.
He is screaming at him and losing his
Screaming.
shit.
And Michael's lawyer, Terrence, steps forward.
Right.
And he's like, look, I'm not asking you not to be a man of God, but I'm saying, you need, like, he tries to intervene here.
Yeah, he tries to neutralize the situation.
It's not long before Michael just flips out, flips his fucking lid, starts screaming, pulling his hair out, a la a toddler throwing a tantrum. And he runs out to his, first of all, I watched this 10 times because I needed to see what he grabbed his wife's purse. The wife was there.
Oh, okay.
Or some woman that he's with.
Right.
He grabs her purse. I thought he grabbed it from her, and I was gonna say like, but he grabbed it off the floor, and then she like sprang to life and followed him out.
Right, that was his sign that like we're getting the hell out of here.
Yes, yes.
And to be fair, I could see if I was in some tumultuous situation that Todd was like, we're getting out of here. He could grab my purse and be like, we're going.
Yep, we're out. Yep,
we're out. Yeah.
But the way he grabbed it, I thought he grabbed it off her, and it seemed aggressive.
Very different.
So Natalia Grace says at this point, Christine started to convince her that she was having her period. We get the whole period story. She claims that Christine, trigger alert, guys, this is rough. Christine forced her to put a tampon in, and that caused it to bleed. I don't want to spend a lot of time there.
No, okay. It's so horrible.
Now Michael tells the story of Natalia Grace putting Liquid Pledge into Christine's coffee. And my question is, who buffs their counters with Liquid Pledge?
Why?
Because we see a lot of that.
We do. And I'm like, even if it's a butcher block, you're not going to use Pledge on it because you're cooking on it.
No. Why are you Pledge?
Yeah.
The reenactments I could do without.
Oh, the reenactments were terrible.
They were terrible. Especially the reenactment. I don't mean to laugh, but it's so crazy. The reenactment of Christine whipping her with the belt, where the actress is just deadpan the entire time, just going like this, like a computer. It was real weird.
It's really weird.
So, what did you think about this Liquid Pledge story?
I certainly don't think it happened as Christine says it happened. If anything, it's what Natalia said, because it's possible, like, we've all sprayed. We know how when you spray a cleaning product, it goes all over the place.
Yeah.
And if there was a cup of coffee not far from it, I could see some getting on the cup or and making it smell like something's happened.
Especially if you're a little kid, you're spraying that shit all over the place.
Exactly. You're like, yeah. And also let's remember the thing, like we'll talk about the knife thing, I'm sure. She has very limited manual dexterity.
Yes.
So even if she's pressing the little button on a Pledge can, like it probably is going everywhere because she doesn't have this hand strength. She can't bend her fingers.
Right.
So like, all the things that we would assume if you and I were doing it with this the bottle, like we would have a lot of control over this, and we're adults. But even as kids, we would have had a ton of
Amanda has something in her hand that she's threatening to spray.
Yeah, it's eyeglasses cleaner.
I like how you're demonstrating how we would spray.
I have a bottle.
Here's Todd's coffee.
Honey, don't drink that coffee. Sorry.
I mean, I wouldn't put it past my kids throwing some Pledge in my coffee. Whatever. Do you think that then Christine made her reenact it on camera? Like, I don't know.
I think Christine made her made her do a lot of stuff on camera.
Okay.
I do. I don't think she did a lot of these. I like the videos they have of her being like, I need to go to church to get rid of the bad people or whatever, read the Bible to get rid of the bad things.
Absolutely.
I think Christine made her say all that.
Me too.
Yeah.
guys, here's a pro tip. If you're childless by choice or you don't have kids, whatever, hear me. Kids will pretty much do whatever the fuck you tell them when they're
Mhm.
like 5, 6, 7. They're
Yeah.
yours to control. Trust me.
Mhm.
I miss those days. I want to go back to those days. But seriously, like kids, you almost, I can remember at times being almost stunned by the amount of power that I had over my kids as their
Mhm.
parent.
Yeah.
So
It's
believe
scary.
me, Christine easily could have gotten her to say some of this stuff.
Of course.
100%.
Of course.
Yeah. So now we get the Michael and Christine are starting to tell people all these things because now we need to spread the narrative.
Right, we need
And
to start building a case to get rid of her.
they call the neighbors. And then we do have one neighbor who says that they came over and
That was
they
the weird
found.
neighbor that we saw before, the nosy neighbor.
No, this was a different neighbor who had their voice concealed and we were hearing an audio
Oh, yeah,
recording.
yeah. Okay, yes, yes, yes.
And this person said they came over, they found matches under the bed and some rubbing alcohol. And when they asked Natalia Grace what they were going to do, what she was going to do with it, she said, "I'm going to light this house on fire and kill everybody. And you can die too, bitch." You know, like,
Mhm.
that's a nice, I don't know, blouse you have there. You want something to happen to it. I don't know what she would say. But
Wow. Dark.
she went to the blouse barn.
The
Um,
blouse.
so here's my thing. I think absolutely a kid who was suffering this much abuse would say this,
Mhm.
would think these things, would want to hurt this family.
Yeah. Oh,
100%.
I
If this
agree.
family's beating on her and doing terrible shit to her,
I'd wanna kill them too.
I mean, my kids wanted to murder me when I wouldn't buy them like a Xbox. I can't imagine
Oh,
if I was abusing them.
you would think all hell has broken loose here when one thing doesn't go somebody's way
Exactly. Do not underestimate the murderous rage
of a teenager.
simmering below the surface of a preteen or a young child.
Yeah. It's right there at any
It's
given.
right there. It's right there. Okay. So now this is where shit gets real bad.
Mhm.
She is, because of some of this stuff that they've been catching her on tape doing, supposedly. They commit her to LaRue Carter Psychiatric Facility. Is it LaRue? Do I have
Mhm.
that right? Yeah,
Mhm.
okay. So in text, they're gloating about this, and Michael calls her a demon-possessed soul. And I wrote, even when he's texting, he doesn't know how to speak.
No, but those texts are so horrible.
Yeah, they're horrible. These are
Yeah.
people that the state, whomever, trusted these people to raise this child.
Right. Right, right.
Oh,
And this is what we
God.
got.
She gets re-aged while she's in there, so she is put in an adult wing of a psychiatric hospital. I wrote,
Oh,
Jesus Christ, Jesus Christ.
I know.
The
It's so
thought of
terrifying.
this is, it's too much. So one of the only advocates for the re-aging, and we learned this in season 1, was the family doctor who wrote this letter like, this chick is batshit crazy. And basically the judge is like, I've never seen a doctor write a letter like this. Like,
You know what it's
what is
reminiscent of?
this?
That crazy doctor that Donald Trump used to say that he was the
Oh,
healthiest man
that
that's
he
ever
had
walked the planet.
six-pack abs.
Right,
Yes.
and that he was gonna live to be 200, that guy.
Yes,
It feels just
yes.
like that.
Dr. Jackson?
And well, that was his personal physician when he was president, but there was that guy beforehand.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, let's
Mhm.
see. Donald Trump doctor letter. Uh, let's see. We have to go back to like 2016. Harold Bornstein.
Okay. All right.
Harold Bornstein. Oh, he's dead now. He dead now.
Okay. He
He
dead
died.
now.
He dead now.
Okay. So the prosecutors are like, this is bizarre. Like, a doctor never says a person is evil in a letter.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Unless you're Cody Brown's doctor. You might write that in invisible ink at the bottom and hope that someone knows how to
He says,
reveal it.
you hope that Misty Quigley shows up and realizes how to get to that part. Can we get Misty Quigley in on Natalia Grace? I feel like she'd figure this shit out.
She'd figure
She and the
this right
citizen
out.
detectives would have it all covered.
I'm just thinking of the doctor who referred Robin Brown to the hospital when she was dying of COVID with her 100
Oh,
degree fever.
right.
writing in invisible ink, like, this woman is a psychopath
A psychopath that is not really sick.
at the bottom of the referral, and no one knows it except, like, the Misty Quigley type nurse
Right, just
who's like, "I got this."
give her some pills that are made of sugar and send her on her way home. It's the only thing that's gonna shut this bitch up.
So she is 8, they age her to 22, and this allows them to, send her home because she's an adult and she's not crazy. So they send her to a fucking halfway house.
Mm.
Who I mean, let's not take the re-aging into account. Okay?
Okay.
Let's take it at face value and say, okay, she's re-aged to 22 years old.
She is
She
22.
is still a young, vulnerable girl with special needs.
And you're throwing her in a random halfway house?
Like, yeah, even if she's 30, that's not okay.
Mm-mm.
These fucking people. These people need to be, I don't know, is there like a lifetime ban on ever coming into contact with other children?
There isn't, but there should be.
We need to throw them on some kind of list like that.
Okay.
So there were, now Natalia Grace tells us there were people with drugs and needles, and it was a whole thing. So they go and they pick her up, supposedly because Christine's worried that she'll be found dead from an overdose. Okay, she didn't say she was doing the drugs.
No.
Whatever, weirdo. So now we get that famous old lady who calls her a slut and a floozy, essentially.
I forgot how much I hated this lady.
Talk about having, no pun intended, like no grace for this girl.
I know. No empathy, no care for another human.
Mm-hmm.
This woman is so gross.
We get the story again about how Natalia Grace was sexually touching this little boy. Natalia Grace says she wasn't. Now, I think she might have been. Because that is a common thing with abused children, that they act out sexually. I mean, there are kids who aren't abused who act out sexually. So it's, I'm sure that was happening.
We have no idea what this child has seen through her whole life.
Nope. No idea. She tells a story about how she would knock on people's doors, of course, because she was like 9.
And hungry and left alone and scared and wanting company.
And of course, she found some creepo who was like naked watching porn and inviting her in. And he's not a creep because he's naked watching porn, but he's a creep because he's inviting a little kid in.
Small child into watching porn and be naked with.
Right.
Yeah.
He didn't just shut the door and say, go home.
Right.
So she was creeped out and left. And she's like, I'm lucky he didn't try to rape me or kill me, which she's correct. She's correct. One point, Christine tries to overdose her. Then we have this weird confrontation with the neighbor that you were talking about. The real bizarre looking neighbor who looks like, I don't know, some kind of circus performer. She's got like bright red blush on and her real makeup's floral pattern. Yeah.
Poor choice.
For me to comment on makeup, it's bad. Because I don't even notice.
Happy and sad we did not return to Belly Button Gate.
What's belly? Oh, yeah. Oh. Well, this woman... Like, this is what I'm talking about. Natalia gets into a big fight with this woman, and she's all aggro at this woman. And I think this woman is not great either. Don't get me wrong. But putting myself in the place of this neighbor, in her shoes, if, all of a sudden Stephanie, who I've known for a long time, said to me, this kid is dangerous. She tried to hurt us. She'll try to hurt your kid. You can rest assured I'm not letting you near my kid. I've known you 6 months.
Yep.
And Natalia feels like this woman should have had loyalty to her.
Yeah.
And that's a kid's way of thinking.
It is. It is. That's the problem. I mean, all these people are just such terrible.
She's like, why didn't you talk to me? Why didn't you ask me? And the woman's like crying. And the woman's kind of like, I don't know. I should have. Like, no, you didn't know that kid. Why would you have? Like, that would be weird. Ken Maxwell comes in. He's like, why did all these things take place? We don't have a motive. Yes, we did. We just went through it all. Ken, where have you been? Late to the show?
Ken, were you late for your call where we had to review everything we're talking about before we got to you? He's
like, after looking at the circumstantial evidence, there was a clear plan. We know.
Right. We just spent 2 episodes talking about it.
So now they put her in this apartment in Lafayette. I'm almost done here. This is how quick I'm going through this. She and her mom go visit. We see them revisit her and Cynthia. And it's a physical challenge.
Yeah,
and I
thought that was
imagine
powerful to show how difficult it would be for her to have lived in that place.
Like, I think, when we talk about Natalia Grace, we sometimes forget the fact that this is a kid who literally can't take care of herself
No.
because of all of her medical needs.
And so, like I said, when I was explaining it to my mom, I'm like, she can't reach the top of a washing machine. She can't reach a sink
No.
without accommodations.
Yes.
For her to be
Yes.
comfortable in a home, there needs to be a lot of retrofitting and
Mhm.
accommodations
Mhm.
to
Mhm.
support her, which is
Yes.
fine, but that
Yep.
needs to happen for her to be comfortable.
Yes. So we learned that Michael and Christine were driving somewhere and she gets him like on a hot mic sitch saying, "Shut up, I'll kill you." Which I've
Yeah.
no doubt he said that kind of shit all the time.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm
Mhm.
sure they both did.
Yep.
The
The
things that their 3 boys have seen are horrific.
Yeah. The kids were in the car. She uses this to help get him banned from Canada and take his kids away from him. So
Mhm.
there we go. Like, dude, instead of worrying about driving a sports car and growing weird facial hair, why don't you get a lawyer who will get you custody of your kids or at least allow you to see them?
Right.
Because that's not what he cares about. He doesn't care about that.
He doesn't give a shit about his
Mm-mm.
kids.
So he stays with some friends who are like, oh yeah, him and Christine, like they were real toxic. They were screaming at each other all the time. So this means Christine's in Canada. She fucks off to Canada with the boys. Michael is left in Indiana and he begins sending her text messages like, why are you leaving Natalia Grace without electricity? Why did you take the AC? What,
Right.
like he does seem to weirdly be advocating for her at times,
Mhm.
but I posit that is just his way of fighting with Christine.
I think so too. And just creating drama.
Like he doesn't really care.
No, I don't think he gives a shit.
'Cause here's
He doesn't give a shit
here's
about
something,
anybody but
dude.
himself.
Drive to Walmart and get an AC and bring it over to her.
Right, it's not that hard.
No.
Call up the electric company and say, "I wanna pay this bill."
Mhm, mhm.
It's not that hard.
We get a little background on her time in the Ukrainian orphanage, and she remembers a guy putting a towel or something over her face. They interview her birth mother. Her birth mother's like, "I would love to have her here." But
Mhm.
Natalia Grace doesn't wanna reunite with her birth mother, which is I found that odd. I wanna say
I think
weird,
sh
odd, but
I think she blames her mom
yeah,
for
I
all
shouldn't
of
be
this
too
happening,
judgy. You're
because
right.
if she hadn't let her go, none of this would have happened.
Yeah, you're right,
It's
you're
easy
right.
for her to imagine she would have had a great, perfect life with her mother.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, that's probably pretty common. I just
Yeah,
feel like wouldn't she hope that her mother would just love her, but clearly that's not
right.
what is going through her head at the
Mm-mm.
time. And we do see like the mother when she gave her up and surrendered her rights, we see the paperwork and the mother clearly said it was for financial reasons
Mhm.
because she could not take care of her with all of her needs.
Yeah,
So she did the right thing, the mother.
she did, and it's heart I'm sure it was heartbreaking for her.
Absolutely. She remembers an incident in the Ukraine where some black cloaked figure with a green mask came in.
Yeah, this was really weird.
And what I took from is this is the moment where she realized like her disabilities made her vulnerable.
Mhm.
Because she said all the kids could run and she couldn't run
She couldn't.
away and she
Yeah.
was stuck. And I felt that is a metaphor
Mhm.
because that is how she feels in her life. And
Absolutely.
it's really sad. She also remembers somebody covering her face and being carried to a big building. She was in a doctor's office. She got a shot. She blacked out. She was lying on a couch. She says it might have been a guy in a white t-shirt. And then production shows her a picture of her in the orphanage.
Mhm.
And there's an old dude and he's wearing a white hat.
Yeah.
Now he looks like he's examining her.
Yeah.
It
It
looks like a doctor
regular
sitch.
doctor's appointment, yeah.
hmm
And
But
she wasn't alone in the room, clearly, because someone took the photo.
right, but they're trying to imply this is the guy.
Right, that he
And
was sexually
that's
assaulting her.
and that something nefarious was happening.
It
Yeah.
doesn't look nefarious, but
We don't know.
we
We
don't
don't
know.
know. We learn now that she's getting adopted formally by the Mans family, so we see that. Then we have the second meeting with Michael.
Mhm.
This one, the temperature is way down now.
He is much calmer.
He needs to be medicated. I'm just gonna say it. I'm an
Mhm.
advocate for your psychotropic drugs. Bring them on. Is that the right word? I don't feel like it
Uh,
is.
Psychotropic, maybe. I feel like that I'm not sure. Like, I
Please
know
word
what
police me because I would
I
do it
will.
to anyone else.
Psychotropic medications, make sure we're saying the right thing. Psychiatric or psychotropic medication is
Okay.
a psychiatric term. Take it, blah, blah. Yes.
Okay.
So we're talking antidepressants,
Hmm.
anti-anxiety, blah, blah,
I'm
blah.
a big fan. If you
Oh,
need them,
same.
get them. Get them,
Same,
take them.
same. Same, same.
And Michael needs them. I'm just
No.
going to say it. Okay.
That and a lot of therapy and probably someone to work on his one or many personality disorders.
Yes. So they reach a point where he kind of apologizes and she forgives him and she asks if she can pray over him. I wrote, she seems different without Mans nearby. Mans is not right on her.
Yet no one's in that room.
Mm-mm.
So Terrence couldn't be in there,
Uh-huh.
nor could
Mm-hmm.
Antoine.
The whole confrontation is as frustrating as you imagine it to be. Her
Because he
asking
won't answer anything.
her asking him questions that like why doesn't help you. Like
Yeah.
she wants some kind of I don't even think she
She wants
knows
an
what she
answer.
wants.
She wants an answer as to why all this happened, and she's gonna ask the question in a 17 million ways. And the
There's
problem is
no answer.
there's no answer. No one can tell her why this happened because 20,000 different things happened that
Mhm.
created this whole thing.
I think what it comes down to is she's like, "Why didn't you just give me back?"
Mhm.
But like we have that answer.
I think it's even more than that. It's, why didn't you protect me?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
protecting could have been giving her back.
Yep. Yep.
Protection could have taken on a ton of forms. She just
But
wants to
like
know why
look
someone let this happen to her.
but look at Michael. He is not
Oh.
capable. No. Terrence okay, so now we have more of Michael's attorney who
Mhm.
defends Michael
I
left
wanna
and
know
right.
what he really thinks. I wanna give him the same truth serum I wanna give Robin Brown
Mm.
about Isabel's
Mhm.
surgery. I wanna give
Mhm.
that to Terrence and be like, "What do you really think of this lunatic?"
Yes. Michael denies everything. Oh, wait, Terrence thinks Michael suffers from PTSD. And he
Mhm.
might. Who
He
knows?
might.
I don't know.
And we also don't know what happened in Michael's childhood.
No, we have no idea.
I'm gonna
So,
guess it wasn't great based on what we're looking at right now.
you think? Michael denies everything except the knife incident.
Mhm.
Like they catch him on lies because, of course, he's denying everything. We're going back to the footage. You said it, dude. You were there, whatever.
Mhm.
But he says, I 100% remember you standing in our bedroom with a knife. Like this is something he will not back down from.
Right.
So I don't know where I stand on that. And here's the rub. I don't think it matters.
No, it doesn't
Doesn't
matter.
matter.
No.
Terrence basically says no one wanted this little girl. Everyone gave her up because she's a problem. And I just wrote, fuck you, Terrence. How about
Yeah.
that? How about
Yeah,
here's a
fuck
big
you.
fuck you?
Mhm.
Hmm.
Who the hell do you think you are?
Yep. Michael basically tells her he had to choose his own kids over her. And she cries at one point, like fake cries. You know how she does the,
Mhm.
I don't think it's fake. I think that's her emotion pouring out, but there's no tears. It's not
Yeah.
like a Robin Brown cry.
No, no, I think
Mm-mm.
she's having real emotions.
Yeah.
She just doesn't she's so God,
There's a
she needs so much
detachment
help.
from her own emotion there.
Yeah, which makes sense given all this kid's been through.
100%. She has been diagnosed with reactive detachment disorder, which
Mhm,
we'll talk about in a minute. So, the final episode, Michael refuses to play the accusation from Freddie Gill that he had sex with Natalia Grace. I don't think that happened. I'm not
mm-mm,
getting that vibe at all. I
mm-mm,
don't get that vibe from Natalia. She didn't
no,
seem to she didn't seem to bat an eye being in a room with him, which I think would have been different if he had abused her.
and she talks about sexual abuse, but has nothing to do with him.
Nothing to do with him.
Yeah,
We learn about the Mans and how they defended her. And then there is this younger child who says, oh, Natalia Grace used to beat me when she got here.
mhm,
So there's that. Cynthia Mann says there were big issues and Natalia Grace did have to be corrected. And that sent my hair up a little bit on my neck. Like, what does
don't
it mean to be corrected?
corrected. Yeah,
Natalia Grace says, look, I lied. I stole. I cussed. I said sexual things. I feel terrible, but I didn't know. I was exposed to a bunch of stuff I shouldn't have been. And,
mhm,
fine. We get some funny business in Ukraine where we learn that her adoption record. This is what I'm talking about, Beth Karras. Like, Beth Karras now wants us to think, like, introduce new theory right before the end
right.
that she was probably sex trafficked. But, like, we have no evidence of that.
No evidence of that at
She's
all.
just like the judge was fired for corruption who did her adoption. Okay.
Okay,
That kind of
cool.
shit happens all the time.
Right.
Um and her adoption records are missing. So are probably a million other kids.
Right.
Birth mom says she never visited her in the orphanage. She signed off on her rights because of the cost and her low socioeconomic status. Interview with Natalia Grace as a kid, saying she knows where her private areas are and they were touched by that man in the orphanage. So she did suffer some sexual abuse there.
Something yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I don't doubt that horrific things have happened to this young woman over and over and over again.
Me either. So
And the other part.
reactive attachment disorder is a condition where the child doesn't form healthy emotional bonds with their caretakers, often because of emotional neglect or abuse at an early age. They have trouble managing their emotions. They
Mm-hmm.
struggle to form meaningful connections with other people. They rarely seek or show signs of comfort and may seem fearful or anxious around caretakers.
Right.
So that's pretty interesting, and it happens a lot in foster care and orphans.
And we hear about this.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
If you don't have an appropriate early bond with somebody, you don't learn how to bond,
If you
basically.
don't securely attach, you're fucked.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean,
Pretty much.
I shouldn't say that because you could fix that.
You can
But I'm
fix
just
that.
saying, like, that's where the initial wound comes.
Exactly. And
And
it's
then you
hard to
spend your
work
life
through.
fixing that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Take it from somebody who knows.
Mm-hmm.
So then I have symptoms and causes real quick are not showing positive emotions like comfort, love, or joy, avoiding eye contact, expressing fear, anger by throwing temper tantrums or frequently showing unhappiness or sadness, trying to take things in the environment that they can control, which makes them likely to break rules. So this is clearly what's going on with her.
Makes perfect sense. And she's like, yeah, I absolutely had that
100%.
going on. She's like, yeah. And of course she did.
Mm-hmm. So now we see the adoption day with the Mans. And I wrote back to Michael bullshit, but I didn't cover any of it.
Okay.
So she's happy. It's very sweet. She says she doesn't trust anyone, but she trusts the Mans and she's beyond happy. Everybody's crying. I'm crying.
They all had these cute t-shirts on. No, I
Did
didn't
your
cry.
dead cold heart defrost long enough? No.
No,
Okay.
no,
I was
not on
crying.
this.
I was crying. Were
I
you
thought the
crying on the
t-shirts were cute.
inside?
Maybe.
Okay. The t-shirts were great.
The
They were
t-shirts
very
great.
cute.
Yeah.
So just when you think it's over, we get black screen of death. 2 weeks ago and 6 months after the adoption, production gets a call from the Mans. Now, Antoine says, quote, I wrote it all down word for word.
Okay, good. Good.
Something ain't right with Natalia. This girl is tweaking. I feel like she's the enemy in the house. She said to us, we have held her hostage and made us look like we're the enemy. Cynthia says, Natalia is stabbing her family in the back over a complete lie. Anton says, she's done other things too, but this is a new low. Natalia does not have emotions for nothing but herself. We're done. We're done with her. And Cynthia's going, uh-huh. And that's it. And then Natalia's story will continue.
The fuck?
What the fuck? Somebody in Backdoor Friends, you Backdoor Friends are real smart. Because somebody said, and I wonder if this is true, if it's a fight over money.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I had said, I wonder if she got paid for this. Do people get paid for documentaries?
I think it depends. I don't know.
I'm Googling it.
You're Googling. Okay, you're on it.
Okay. Documentary filmmakers are not legally obligated to compensate their subjects. However, it is a common practice in the industry.
Okay.
Okay. I'm guessing because this was a season 2, they
She got
probably
money.
paid her.
Yeah. And it was so popular and all of that.
I don't think she got paid for 1.
No. Also, she didn't really appear in 1.
No, she didn't. You're right. She didn't.
Yeah. Because she couldn't, because she was legally, she mentions that. She's like, the reason I didn't talk in the first one is because I was still under court order, gag orders, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
My other thought is, are they doing this to create drama so we get a season 3?
Yes.
Okay. I think so too. Because if without this call, we're done with this story. It's a happy ending. She's with a good family. Even if the story is that she's moved out on her own.
Right.
She's 21, 22. That great. I hope she can live independently one day if that's what she wants to do.
Well, okay, so a few things. I will tell you that she has been spotted with the Mans on social media.
Okay.
It appears that they're still with each other.
Okay.
So I don't know if this was just a blow up.
She still
If
uses the last name Mans on social media.
and if that's the case, if this was just them fighting, then it is irresponsible of the producers to show us that,
Mhm. Mhm.
in my opinion.
I agree.
Um,
Because families fight. Parents
Families
fight with their
fight.
kids.
Mhm. I do think that
How many times, Amy, have you called Timmy and said, X or Y daughter's tweaking?
I'm gonna call them right now and tell them they're not even
The kids are
here, and I'm gonna
kids
say,
are
"I just
tweaking.
assume they're tweaking."
It's not
Um,
even I mean, I know what tweaking actually means from a drug perspective.
mhm,
I
mhm.
don't think that's what he means,
I
but
don't
I
think
do
she was
know what it
tweaking, no. So, here's my thing. So she started a GoFundMe.
Mhm.
People feel some type of way about that. I
Yes.
don't. I think if people wanna give this woman $50, give it to her. Go
What do
ahead.
I care? Yeah.
She
If
deserves it because she has to live with all of these physical deformities that she has to
Mhm.
imagine being dependent on someone else for your entire life. That
Mhm.
is this girl's life.
She's raised $6,700
Mhm.
thus far. Her goal is
Mhm.
20,000. 153 people have donated, and a lot of them are like $5.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
Guys,
$10, a lot of
we give our
$50.
money to a lot more. Some of you fucking give your money to me. Could you imagine? Natalia Grace deserves it way more than I do. All I'm saying is,
People give money to whatever, and I don't care.
yeah, I don't begrudge her trying to raise
Mm-mm.
money and
Get help.
capitalizing off the people who capitalized off of her.
Mhm.
This girl has
Yeah,
been exploited her entire life.
yeah.
You know what?
Exploit the exploiters, whatever,
Mhm,
I don't care.
mhm.
Of all the
Yep.
things about this, the fact that she has a GoFundMe is the least interesting part of it,
Right, and
like
if that GoFundMe helps her to get some independence so she's not dependent on weirdos like Michael,
Mhm,
I say
great.
go for it. Good
Mhm,
for you,
yeah,
because we all
and I actually looked
know.
at it yesterday, and it was only, like, $1,100, so people are popping up here.
Because we all know there are not social systems in place to support this.
Oh,
So this is the American way, the
yep,
GoFundMe of the medical type.
that's American healthcare is
Mhm, mhm.
way.
Yeah. So I've said it all.
Yeah, the documentary itself was terrible.
Terrible. It
It
could have
was
been 2 episodes.
it was so bad. I have a ton of empathy for Natalia, I also don't trust her.
Yeah, like, I get when people are saying, we're having some issues in conversations about her across social media because people are like, "I don't like her," and they feel
Mhm,
bad about not liking her.
mhm.
You don't have to like her.
No,
You don't have to like her to feel sorry for her.
nope.
Bottom line.
I have empathy for a lot of people I don't necessarily like.
Amanda has empathy for the Unabomber.
I RIP. RIP, man. You know, RIP Ted Bundy and the Unabomber. Whatever you're gonna do.
No, but
God.
seriously, like, you don't have to like her to agree
No.
that she was abused. Plain and
Horrible things
simple.
happen to this
Mhm.
young child.
Mhm. Mhm.
Also, she's not great.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
All of
Now,
these things
people
can
are
be true at
talking
once.
about her through the lens of Gypsy Rose. Now, I know nothing about Gypsy Rose.
I know a lot about Gypsy Rose.
So I feel like maybe we need to watch that.
I
I
think we
don't
should
know.
watch it. I really enjoy Gypsy Rose. Okay, I don't enjoy her. I've been fascinated by the story for a long time.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, Her mother was absolutely insane. I am so glad that she has been released and she has the opportunity to live a real life.
Mhm.
Uh,
This was a
do I
Munchausen by proxy situation?
Yeah, and,
Okay.
like, real bad.
Real
Like,
bad. Okay.
her mother had her, like, salivary glands removed. She had, like,
No.
dozens and
No.
dozens of surgeries she never needed. She was on a
No.
feeding tube that
Are
she
you
never
fucking
needed.
kidding me?
No, Amy, it is so
Ugh.
horrific. It is so
And that
bad.
mother's dead, right?
Yes, yeah, because
She does not get my RIP.
no, no, no. Dee Dee
Mm-mm.
Blanchard does not get our RIP.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, no, she's dead because Natalia, Jesus, because, Gypsy Rose's boyfriend murdered
Killed
her.
her. Right. Right.
Um, so yeah, no, I do think some of this Natalia is like, why is she getting all this attention and I'm not?
Yeah. Yeah. Possible.
And horrible things happen to both of them.
Possible.
Just different horrible things. But yeah,
Yes.
no, the Gypsy Rose thing is fascinating. It's utterly
Yeah.
fascinating to me.
Yeah. All right, my friend. We've said it all, and thank you guys for listening to us say it all. We appreciate it. If you haven't already, check out our paid feed where you get Sister Wives Rewatch coming up next week.
Yes, I'm so psyched.
Right? Oh, I don't know
Also,
when I'm dropping this, so it might already be started.
okay. Well, whenever it is. I will say if you haven't watched this documentary, don't feel compelled to unless you really want to. Like, you're not
Yeah.
missing
One
anything.
of the backdoor friends said you could watch the first episode and the last, and I think they're right.
And listen to us talk about it. You're fine.
Yeah, you're fine. We're also doing okay, so we have a lot coming up. We're doing what else do we do? The Crown. We have episodes 8 and 9 in the tank coming at you.
In the hopper, as they say.
We also have The Single Life that we're doing on Patreon,
Yes.
Supercast, and Apple subscriptions.
MAFS is still going.
MAFS is still going in Prison Brides. So
Prison
we
Brides.
got a lot of content coming at you.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do.
And if you want to skip and not sign up this month and give that $8 to Natalia Grace, I understand. You can give it to us in February. We'll take it too.
Yep.
All right.
Sounds good.
All right. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you soon.
Take care, everyone.
Bye.